Hi everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time zone you are in. Thank you. Welcome to our new episode in the podcast. Today's episode is about how to find balance and bliss in life. Every woman's life is busy. Everybody, you talk to any woman, it doesn't matter whether she's a mom, whether she's retired, because women's life work is never done. In the past, we never had this work life balance difference. Think of time before World War II. Think of pioneer women. Think of women who are set in their traditional way of living. For example, you would see that uh, an artist, for example, there is no work for them. They are always in the life balance. They're trying to balance their life with so many other things. So, this work life balance is relatively new. Maybe it's about 200, 300 years old since the Industrial Revolution. Um, the most important thing we have to understand is it is a buzzword. What's a buzzword? Buzzword is something that everybody finds that as a solution. So, Michelle Obama, Oprah, and Ariana, they all swear by it. And that's why mindfulness is a new power move for women leaders. Not only for women leaders, if you're juggling kids, work, and of course your sanity, there is a quick 5 minute mindfulness hack that I'll give you at the very end of this podcast that can change your life. Mindfulness, it's not just for hippies anymore. It's in fact a very ancient practice that is based on Hinduism that can give you the supercharge, and it will give you your success, and of course it will help you to be sane. Let me start with a few examples. Everybody wants to know about my friends or people who have shared this story with me. Let me start with the story of Sarah. All these are pseudonyms. She's a high powered investment banker who was always stressed. See, the amount of work she had to put in just to stay in her position was insane. So she had to choose between sacrificing her sleep so she could get the work done, or sacrificing her personal life so she could choose to be in her career, advance in her career. So she ended up feeling burnt out, completely disconnected from her family, and then she stumbled upon this meditation workshop, the mindfulness workshop. She was very skeptical. She said, "How can a 5 minute technique break me from this initial thing?" But when she attended that session, it was 1 hour session just to get this 5 minute technique. But when she attended that session, she left with some calmness and clarity. That calmness brought clarity to her. And so gradually what she did is she began to incorporate several mindfulness practices in her day. She took a moment as soon as she woke up to offer gratitude. She took a moment during her busy day when she started eating lunch. She would usually be working and eating lunch, but she said, even then, I'm going to take a few minutes of my time just to take this deep breather and connect with myself. And before the end of the day, she said, I'm going to disconnect from this, all the things that are happening at work. Let me take a deep breather. Let me be in mindfulness and let me become the present so I can go fully aware into my family. The results, the impact was so profound. Her stress levels really decreased. Her relationships within the family improved. And she also discovered ways in which she could help other women, because she loved working with women. She loved working with new students. So she said she actually felt a renewed passion in her work. Now, Sarah is not alone, right? I'll give you example of another lady I know. Let me call her as Maria. She was a marketing director and she was very, very meticulous and she was a perfectionist. And she had to be perfectionist because she is marketing, right? So people will come back and say, oh, we invested so much money in you, you can't make a single mistake. So it extended in this stress of her work, extended into her personal life. She did not have time to even create her own family. She had not met her mom for years. So when she came and she started chatting, and we had this one mindfulness session because she was like, I just need something. I'm going crazy. So we just had a quick mindfulness session, and it changed her so much. She began to see that she could delegate some tasks. There were some places where she could be imperfect. It was perfectly okay to be imperfect in some situations, in some places. And she also gave some importance, prioritized her self care. And this changed her leadership style, which made her team become more collaborative and they became more supportive. And because of that, Maya is like thankful that she highlights always that mindfulness is the way that can transform not only individuals, also the team dynamics. She enjoys her work now. She looks forward to going to work. Let me give you another example of a person I know. Let's call her Alicia. She was a startup tech entrepreneur, and she used to believe in working 20 hours a day. Not that she used to believe it. Her startup needed that much of attention, and she barely slept. It so happened one day she was in the middle of all these things and she collapsed in a meeting, and she literally thought she died. That experience of that big health scare made her realize she needed to change. And then she reached out to me and she said, hey, you do all these meditation stuff, puja, you do all that stuff. Can you teach me something, how I can reconnect with myself? Because her brain is buzzing, it's buzzy. So the only thing she learned in the first class was just how to breathe. How to breathe. And that had such a profound impact on her that she began to learn how to delegate tasks that were more effective. She started journaling. She started having a daily routine for self care. And now she actually uses mindfulness to increase her creativity and drive innovation in her business. Actually, using mindfulness helped her in a tremendous way. So, you see, mindfulness has a place for every one of us in our system. In every which way we want, mindfulness way can actually help us. So, your question now is, I'm not a big entrepreneur, or I am just an employee. How can mindfulness help me? You should never assume that you are just an employee because you own the task you do. Your company relies on you to do the task you do. You are a leader when you do your task. Everyone in the company is looking forward to you being able to do those tasks. You may be one of the steps in completing that task, But if you do your job wonderfully, the rest of them can build on that with confidence. So never assume that you don't have ownership over anything. We all have ownership over everything we do. First, we have to understand that. The second most important thing we have to understand is that women tend to overdo. What does that mean? That means in our head, something is sitting and we think, oh my God, if I don't do it like this, I may not be an effective worker. If I don't work 24/7, 365, I will not be effective. That is not at all true. Why it is not true? Because an exhausted employee, because an employee who needs a mental break, because an employee who is suffering at job, if they don't take a break, if they are not able to take a break, that is going to impact the whole team, the whole organization, and even their self. Nobody should be destroyed because they're doing a work. Nobody should be in a place where they feel that I have to sacrifice one thing for the other. So, how do we make this happen? Right? How do we make time for our self care even as we are getting very busy doing the whole thing? Most women do not have friends anymore. They don't have time for friends. They're cut. They're cut into pieces, right? You ask many women. The first thing they tell you is, "Oh, I have to go and do some work with this person here. I have this meeting here. I have that meeting here." We make time for everything. We have scheduled everything in our life. We just did not schedule three things. What? Time for self care, time for reflection and solitude, and time to really enjoy our victories. When was the last time you celebrated something that you achieved? When was the last time you said, let me write down my thoughts? Let me call a friend and speak about this. Our lives have gotten so busy, we actually have no friends anymore. We don't know who to call. If there is an emergency, we want to feel like talking. We honestly don't know who to call. We have become so disconnected from our network. We just have to reconnect ourselves. Let us reconnect ourselves. And what is the best way to reconnect ourselves? What is a mindful way to reconnect ourselves? The best mindful way to reconnect ourselves is to first go into ourselves, talk to ourselves, listen to ourselves. In our weekly meditation this week, we discussed how long has it been since we heard our own heartbeat? How long has it been since we just sat in silence, not doing anything? Not watching television, not scrolling through phone, not having a book in hand, not making a to-do list, just sitting, just sitting. That's not idling. That is emptying ourselves. We constantly need to empty ourselves in order to renew ourselves. This is different from what we are taught. We are taught to be productive, you must be super busy, you must have a plan of action, you must do this, you must do that. But in mindfulness, in the Eastern traditions, in the Sattvic method, in the conscious method, we tell people, we teach people to become empty, to become more and more and more empty. My guru calls this as being unclutched, being in that space where nothing is, no thoughts are stringing together, when life is just flowing by and you are just flowing like that. Just visualize, it's like a cosmic journey. If you go in the outer space, what do you see? You see planets, you see stars, you see comets, you see black holes, you see brown stars, whatever is there. You are just cruising in that. Just cruising like one of them. Hold on to that profound feeling of belonging, where everything around belongs to you. You do not hold anything as your own. You don't clutch to anything because everything belongs to you and you belong to everything. That is the first feeling we need to cultivate. And that is possible only through meditation. That space you can cultivate only through meditation. And why do we say only through meditation that is possible? Because that is a space where you empty yourself of all your identities, of all your worries, of all the things that really bother us. We empty ourselves continuously. Constantly we empty it. We empty ourselves, we empty ourselves, we empty ourselves. And the more we empty ourselves, the more we are able to fill in at a higher dimension. It is like this. If you want to go to a gold mine and bring gold back with you, you would not take a big suitcase and you would not take anything. You would take one big box. The biggest box, you would take it to be empty. You take an empty big box so you can fill it with all the goodness you find there. And you bring it back and you start applying it. That is the beauty of being in a mindful space. When you're in now, when you're in that mindfulness, you do not have to create a future. You do not have to worry about the past. You can just focus on now. Now is the most brilliant time for every one of us. And if we live in this beauty of now, that will open beautiful things for us in the future. That will negate everything that we are carrying from the past into the future. Because all our worries are about what? It has happened like this in the past. Oh, will it happen like this in the future? Constantly we are linking the past and the future. That way we don't live in the present. One of the biggest teachings of my guru is that we create what he calls as a time shaft. Thoughts just come up like bubbles. But what do? We string them together. For example, we are just sitting and we are thinking, what can I do tomorrow? Today is Sunday. I should get ready for Monday. Oh, it's a work day. Oh my God, Sunday is already gone. My weekend is gone. And suddenly, what we are thinking, oh, last week this happened. I hope that doesn't happen in future. That was very unfortunate. I remember that time when in my childhood it happened. Oh, these Sundays are very bad for me. Over. You just created a shaft. You lined four things that happened simultaneously. And you said, my life is going to be like this. You made that decision that your life is going to be like this. Just based on three thoughts. It just takes 3 seconds for us to make ourselves miserable. But if we decide to be powerful, if we decide to be in now, the best thing that will happen to us is we become powerful. How? Because the whole thing is open for us. I can choose to be anything I wish to be. I can choose to be all the persons I want to be. I can do million things in my life. But you know what? Those million things may be related to that one or two things that I figure out in this meditative state. It tells me if I do this, then that will be my foundation to do many other things. Imagine being able to find such powerful solutions for yourself. Imagine feeling empowered to run your life as you want. That is the power of mindfulness. That is the power of now. That is the power of consciousness framework. And that is why every woman should know this. That is why every woman should celebrate this. And that is why every woman should say yes to consciousness, yes to meditation. Because you have so many roles already. You don't have to go and find anything. You don't have to go in search of anything. You already have those roles. You have millions of ideas. You're generous when you share them. You're kind when you say, I can help you out. So many wonderful possibilities already exist in you. Now imagine you bringing this mindfulness into you so you can celebrate more of you. You will end up being a happier person. You need not be worried about what's going to come up next. Okay, so here I want to tell you it doesn't mean that you don't have a plan for future. It doesn't mean that you get a paycheck the same day you spend it saying, you know what, hey, I'm not going to be worried about it. That's not what I'm meaning. I'm saying you will not worry unnecessarily about things that do not matter to you anymore. You will be more present in your own life. How can we bring that presence in our life? Let's say you are in a busy meeting and there are 10 different opinions in the table, and you have to make a decision and you have to make it now. Here is a tactic, here is a tip, here is a process you can follow. We can tell everyone to actually close their eyes. Everybody, close your eyes. Take a long, deep breath. Now think of one thing that we all can do as a team. We all don't want to be doing 10 different things to please everybody. Now think of one thing we can all do as a team. And it should not just be great for us, it should be great for the team. Now, how many answers will be there on the table? Will you have 10 answers? No. If you want one solution that will work for everybody, as a team, as an enterprise, you want one solution that's going to work for everybody, then there will be only one solution. So we need to look for that solution as a team. That is how mindfulness helps us. So I promised I would give you a technique at the end of this. So if you are, thank you for everyone for who is joined live with me today. As we end this podcast, I welcome you to sit straight, take a long, deep, slow breath, close your eyes, and visualize yourself as a little seed, a thistle seed who is floating in the wind, just free floating, just going where the wind takes. Drop all the responsibilities, all the images, all the things I have to do, that list. Drop everything. Just be with the thistle. And when you feel that you have reached a spot where you feel so happy, you land. Very simple visualization. Please practice this whenever you feel life is speeding by, whenever you feel I don't feel beauty in my life, whenever you feel that this is getting too much for me, just take a long, deep, slow breath. Close your eyes. Drop everything around you. Become that thistle seed that's carried by the wind, that decides where to land. And it decides to land when it feels very, very happy. Please join our live meditation sessions. We have Gita meditation every Saturday morning, 8 to 9 Central Time. We have a huge upcoming program in April, which is the Vedic New Year. I welcome all of you to join. That's a 3-day challenge. It is going to be so much fun, and you learn the science of making sankalpa. Sankalpa is a conscious resolution. How do you make a conscious resolution that resonates with the cosmos so it can give you back? This is very different from the New Year resolutions which we make and break by 25th of every month. This is a conscious resolution. This is a sankalpa. I welcome all of you to join that. It's a free session. Please join and please visit our website, thesatvicmethodcompany.com. We have so many free and there are some paid programs. I welcome you all to try it because women need this consciousness framework. This is the best thing that has happened to them, that continues to happen to them, that is there for them. Mindfulness, the Sattvic method, the consciousness framework, they're all the same. They come from the same framework. And I'm very grateful that I was initiated into this by my guru, although it was very late in life. I'm very grateful to have received this knowledge, and I'm very happy to share them with you. Thank you everyone for coming, and I look forward to your comments, your suggestions, and I will see you in the next episode of the Sattvic Methods podcast, Sattvic Serenity. If you have suggestions, please post them below. And if you want to bring a particular guest or you have any other um, thoughts to share, please do so. And please share this podcast session with as many women as possible. And hopefully, they will all find joy, and relief from this simple technique. Bye bye.